Update. Am I the asshole for wanting a divorce because of my husband's daughter's pranks? After leaving, I finally returned home because Roger promised things would change. He assured me that Jasmine's pranks would stop and said he had grounded her to make her understand the consequences of her actions. I wanted to believe him. I wanted to believe that we could work through this and that Roger was finally taking my concerns seriously. The next day, Jasmine had a friend over. It was a school holiday, so Jasmine was home, and I thought maybe having her friend over would help keep her entertained while I got some work done. I set up in my usual spot, ready to power through a busy day. About an hour into my work, I heard a swooshing noise behind me. I turned around just in time to see Jasmine's friend standing there with scissors in her hand, a look of shock on her face. A curl of my hair was lying on the floor. It wasn't a huge chunk, but it was enough to be noticeable. I was stunned, not just by what had happened, but by the brazenness of it. I immediately called the friend's mother, told her what happened, and drove the girl back to her house. The mom was mortified and called me later, apologizing profusely. She explained that it had been a dare and that her daughter was grounded for a month. I even received an email from the friend, apologizing and explaining that she had no idea why she did it, swearing she would never behave like that again. But was Jasmine punished? Not at all. Roger claimed that because Jasmine wasn't the one who actually cut my hair, and because her friend never explicitly said it was Jasmine's idea, he didn't feel right punishing her. He insisted it was a one-off and that Jasmine wasn't to blame. I couldn't believe it. Once again, she faced no consequences, even though I'm sure she was behind the whole thing. I stopped talking to Jasmine after that incident. I couldn't even look at her without feeling a mix of anger and betrayal. I also made it clear to Roger that unless he was home, I didn't want to be alone with Jasmine. I couldn't trust her anymore, and I refused to be the target of her passive-aggressive behavior. Roger was not happy about this new rule, and it led to multiple arguments between us. He complained about three main things. First, it's making me the bad guy. Roger hated that he had to be the one to enforce the rule and be home every time Jasmine was. He said it made him feel like the bad cop and that it was unfair to expect him to juggle work and home because of this new arrangement. Second, you're isolating my daughter. Roger accused me of trying to drive a wedge between him and Jasmine. He said that by refusing to spend time with her alone, I was alienating her and creating unnecessary tension in the house. He kept saying, she's just a kid, as if that excused everything. And third, it's not sustainable. He argued that our relationship couldn't function if I refused to interact with Jasmine. He said my behavior was unsustainable and that I was the one who needed to make an effort to get along with her, not the other way around. I tried to explain to Roger that this wasn't just about Jasmine anymore. It was about feeling safe and respected in my own home. I couldn't eat without worrying she'd put something in my food as a prank. I couldn't shower without double-checking my shampoo, terrified that she'd swapped it with hair removal cream or something equally cruel. I lived in constant fear of what she might do next, and that's no way to live. Roger continued to brush off my concerns. Jasmine's behavior, while slightly toned down, only grew more passive-aggressive. She'd leave my things out of place, accidentally knock over my coffee, or glare at me when she thought I wasn't looking. I knew she was still testing boundaries, and Roger did nothing to stop it. Every time I raised an issue, he'd defend her, minimizing what she did as typical tween behavior and blaming me for not trying hard enough to bond with her. I came home expecting change, but nothing's changed. In fact, it's worse. I feel trapped in a house where I'm constantly on edge, and I've come to a painful realization. I don't like Jasmine, and I don't like the person Roger has shown me he is. I thought he was a strong, involved father, but now I see he's unwilling to set boundaries or enforce discipline when it matters. He lets his daughter walk all over me, and I can't respect that. I love Roger, but I don't love this life. I hate feeling anxious in my own home. I hate that I'm afraid to let my guard down even for a second. And most of all, I hate that Roger is more concerned with coddling Jasmine than he is with protecting our relationship. I've tried everything I can think of, but at this point, I'm not sure I can keep doing this. Am I wrong for wanting to leave, or am I justified in wanting more from my marriage?